Hello and welcome to Game Changer Live. We were created to inspire you with topics around coaching, positive mindset, neuroscience, overcoming perfectionism, and more. We endeavor to bring you the most unedited and authentic version of ourselves so that who you see here in all of our imperfection is who you actually would get to work with. Because I don't have time to edit this until I look like Chris Hemsworth, or any Hemsworth for that matter. I just want to deliver this content to you. And our shows air every Wednesday live at 3:30 p.m. with that in mind. We bring on guests about twice a month, and our motto for this channel is Together We Inspire. So let's get inspired today. My name is Daniel Connor. I'm a certified professional coach. I'm a leader in my local International Coaching Federation chapter. I'm an Energy Leadership Index Master Practitioner, and I'm the owner of Connor's Coaching as well as the host for this channel. Just a few of the hats that I wear. But perfection really is the worst. Perfectionism, where we hold ourselves back and pretend to be someone we're not just to impress people who really don't matter, or to control our future so that something doesn't happen that hasn't happened yet. Well, my clients get to overcome perfection. They learn to change from the inside out. And instead of holding themselves back and preventing themselves from having even a chance of having success, they instead make progress and produce amazing results in their life. Rather than spending all of their time pretending to be someone that they're not to impress people who were never meant to be in their life in the first place, they'd get to define who they want to be that person authentically, and to attract the people in their life they were meant to know. And they get the benefit of waking up feeling satisfied with the person that they see staring back in the mirror themselves. I want to start off today. We're going to be talking about journaling. Surprise, shock. It's in the title. You signed up for this video. But we're going to be talking today about journaling. But let me tell you about my most successful client before we get there. This is a client who hired me because she wanted to work on how miserable she felt in her job. She had imposter syndrome and feelings like she wasn't of value to her team that lowered her own self-worth and how she saw herself. At the end of our first session, we decided to come up with a plan. And this was all her doing. She is the one who's in control, just like any of my clients is in control of the session. I don't have an agenda for my clients, but I did suggest that we try out some journaling. She was not a fan of journaling. She hadn't done it before, but she was willing to give it a try because she was miserable and she really wanted to feel better. And what we ended up doing was every day she was going to list 3 things that she did that day that she felt proud of, with the idea that she could look at the end of the week at some of the things that gave her energy in her job so that she could figure out what she wanted to do from there. And she reported the most amazing breakthrough the next week when we met. She went from hating her job to loving it. She decided on her own, after doing journaling for 6 days, to meet with some people at her work to find out what they thought of her so that she would stop telling herself what they thought of her, that she would actually learn how they thought of her, what they saw when they looked at her. And she realized that she had a lot to be proud of. And so instead of wanting to leave her job, she realized that she wanted to have more options to do the things that she felt like she was really good at, but that she was in a job where she was doing things she didn't enjoy doing. So it all started with a little bit of self-awareness, a little bit of curiosity, and a little bit of journaling. And I think that it might sound like I'm promising the moon. And by the way, results within the first week, not typical, but results definitely are pretty much scientifically proven around journaling. From my perspective, journaling is this magical tool, a tool that my clients oftentimes ignore or decide not to do, which is fine. But I think that journaling is remarkable. It's scientifically proven scientifically proven within the last 10 years to reduce the impact of strong emotions on ourselves, to rewrite negativity into positivity, to increase our resilience in the face of difficult times. And study after study after study has shown it to be an effective self-care tool to help overcome depression and anxiety without the use of medication. However, I want to give a caveat here. I'm not a mental health professional. When I work with my clients around emotions, it's always about how they want to channel those emotions into the future and not how they want to overcome the emotions or the trauma of the past. However, journaling has been shown to be effective use in that. If you do feel like you're stuck with depression and anxiety, don't just use journaling as a tool. Consider hiring a mental wellness professional, a therapist to help overcome those difficult emotions. But for the rest of us, where depression and anxiety are simply just a fact of life because everyone faces them, journaling can actually be an effective self-care tool that you can use immediately to produce results and to reduce the depression, anxiety, and the hold of difficult emotions on yourself. And yet, despite all of these tremendous and miraculous benefits that journaling brings, so many people, including me, find themselves having a difficult time embracing it or unwilling to even try. But it's so powerful and so effective for the clients of mine that have started a journaling habit that I'm still here preaching about it because it really is like magic. It is not difficult to do. In fact, it couldn't be easier. And it lets you rewrite your reality in your own terms. It helps you process difficult emotions. It helps you process past events and create long-term memories and more. It improves your learning. It improves your ability to speak to other people. There is so many benefits to journaling. It's so important. It's too important to give up on. It's too important to just say, maybe I'll start it next month. Or, eh, I'm too tired. There are some real pitfalls that people fall into with journaling. And so I want to talk a little bit about those, of where journaling goes wrong for people or where people might have a hard time starting in the first place. Um, First of all, one of the common things that I see with clients is that they mean to, but they don't make any specific time for it. That they say, "Yeah, I'll try doing some journaling," and then when I check in with them in a week, they journaled maybe 1 or 2 days, but they didn't do it after that because they just ran out of time. Things got busy. Their favorite TV show was on. Um, whatever reason that they had. So the first issue is that we don't make time to journal. We don't set aside time. The second one is that we have, and it's kind of related to that, we have unclear priorities when it comes to journaling. That there are other things that are just too important, like watching the new TV show or rewatching a rerun of an old TV show, or I don't know, reading a book or getting lost in our minds. It becomes this thing that's in conflict with how we live our lives rather than part of how we live our lives. Another way that I see people kind of falling into a pitfall where journaling becomes too difficult is that they make it too complex for themselves. They go out and get a book about bullet journaling and they decide that they've never journaled before, so they're going to start with the most complicated, most involved, and most time consuming method of journaling that they possibly could. It becomes too complex, it becomes unsustainable. And the last one is, and this one's kind of heartbreaking, is that instead of using journaling to propel themselves into the future, their journal just becomes a place to whine and complain, to basically justify feeling like a victim in their life. It's in not being used in a way to process or to plan or to change how the future looks. So those are the main pitfalls that I see of journaling. But I have a solution. My version of journaling I call iterative journaling. Iterative is comes from iterative design. Iterative design is something we've talked about on this channel before. Is a great way to overcome perfectionism, where you just add one little thing or one little change to your process instead of big massive changes. So instead of starting out with this gigantic bullet journal, people can start out with just one question that they answer in 5 minutes. Now, that's how it starts. For me, iterative journaling is about a structured way to journal that is simple, repeatable, flexible, and focused. And I feel like that should make an acronym, but surf, maybe, I don't know. But again, that's simple, repeatable, flexible, and focused. Every day, when you use iterative journaling, you carve specific time out to journal. And ultimately, when you get past the first couple of weeks of journaling, it's going to take about 15 minutes to however long you want. 15 to an hour, 15 to 30 minutes. But 15 minutes is probably the ideal minimum. You're going to have 3 questions that you pick that you're going to answer every day for a week. And then you're going to rotate those questions each week so that you're answering slightly different questions from one week to another. But these are simple questions that are going to have one-word responses. Or not one word, sorry, one sentence responses. So spend 5 minutes writing one sentence. It probably doesn't even take that long, but the part of this is to actually get in touch with the emotions that you're feeling. And by the way, journaling has been scientifically shown to be more effective than meditation at getting self-awareness and calming your mind. So really, journaling is better than meditation, in my opinion. It's better than drugs, in my opinion, although I'm not a medical professional, so don't take my word for it there. Um, and I'm getting off topic, so we're gonna go back. So again, you're gonna have a structured way of journaling, simple, repeatable, flexible, focused. You're gonna have time that you've carved out specifically to do this, with as little as 15 minutes needed. You're gonna pick 3 questions to answer at the end of each day. And by the way, I recommend the end of each day. Ultimately, this is effective if you do it. And if you find that journaling during the morning is better for you, then by all means do it during the morning. I just think that doing it at the end of the day is an opportunity to reflect and to refocus for the next day at the end of the current day to help you process those things and to make it easier. You can bullet journal, by the way, if you want, with iterative journaling. Um, you're just going to carve out an extra section of your bullet journal that you're going to answer these 3 questions for. But most of my clients are not journaling nerds who would find themselves enjoying a bullet journaling process. In fact, for them, journaling just feels like an overwhelming ask that they'd be asking themselves to do. But you can, for sure. If you love the structure and creativity of bullet journaling, do it. Knock yourself out. But if you don't, if that's not you, then fear not. You just need to write 3 sentences approximately. Um, and this can be done in an app if you want. There are a lot of apps out there, but I do think that pen and paper is slightly better. There are some psychological and neurological benefits to consider when you're looking at it. But again, doing this is way more important than the format that you choose to do it in. If an app gets you to journal and you can't manage to do it by pen and paper, then use the app for sure. Avoid the trap of negativity and instead embrace curiosity when you're doing this kind of journaling. We're not talking about toxic positivity here, where you're ignoring the difficult things that you're facing, but rather than focusing on the negative and how it's preventing you from living your life, you're focusing on what your options are, what you can do about it, why you might feel that way. And that way, your journal doesn't just become a manifesto of your inner victim. We all have an inner victim. There's nothing wrong with having that victim in your mind, but giving it the power of your journal isn't going to benefit you in the ways you might want it to. There's some science behind journaling that I want to cover really quickly so that you're clear on why you would want to journal. There are studies that show that it reduces the stress on the lymphatic system, specifically the amygdala in the brain, which is the part of the brain that triggers your fight, flight, or freeze response, as well as where you process emotions, where emotions kind of get stuck and swirl around. Um, this is the part of your brain that is based on reactivity, and journaling helps reduce that reactivity to your world around you so that you can use all of the tools at your disposal and not just the basic survival mechanisms that exist. Journaling has also been shown to reduce depression and anxiety and to improve resilience in the face of depression and anxiety. It also increases our language centers of our brain, which makes it easier to find the right words to talk to a YouTube audience or to talk to other people about emotions. It increases our self awareness. And I love this. When we're focused on positivity and gratitude in our journal, it's been shown to rewire the prefrontal cortex of the brain, the front of the brain, towards more empathy, which has, and not just empathy, but other benchmarks of emotional intelligence. So you're actually making yourself more emotionally intelligent by doing this kind of journaling. When it's done with pen and paper, and this is the main reason to do it on pen and paper instead of an app, you're actually using some very complex nervous system responses around somatic marking by embracing the cerebral cortex, the part of your brain that translates thought into action. And uh, that can have some other significant benefits. It deepens the benefits, basically, of journaling itself. So if you want the most out of journaling, you could get pen and paper is where it's at, baby. So, what do you need to get started? If you're going to start an iterative journaling process, it's two steps, two simple steps. The first one is intention, and the second one are the questions that you're going to answer. So, let's start with the first one. What does it look like for intention? Well, you're going to set an intention and a structure that's going to help you journal. You're going to decide if you're going to use pen and paper, recommended, or an app. You're going to get the supplies you need, download the app or buy the pen and paper, and you're going to set time on your preferred accountability device, whether that's your phone, your alarm clock, your calendar, your watch, your whatever, your partner, if you need your partner to nag you to journal, whatever your preferred accountability device is, set that to help remind you and to set some space for you to journal. And finally, you're going to make it important. You're going to think about how it lines up to other priorities in your life. Is it more important than watching the new TV show? Like if they're relaunching a new version of Matlock, uh, is journaling more important than that, or do you need to set time aside out of your day for Matlock instead? I'm using a kind of an extreme example, but I grew up watching Matlock reruns on TV, so that's what I thought of. If journaling does all of the amazing things that I mentioned that are scientifically shown from scientific studies in the last 10 years, maybe it is pretty gosh darn important, if you ask me. But how important is it to you? How much do you want to reduce the stranglehold that depression or anxiety has on you? How much do you want to reduce the amount that perfectionism is preventing you from being functional in your life? Those are questions that you're going to need to answer. Maybe Matlock is way more important than that, but maybe not. So that's setting the intention and the structure that are going to help you journal and get into a journaling habit. The next step, the second step, is to pick your questions. And Ultimately, your goal is to have 3 questions that you're going to ask yourself every day for the week. 3 questions every week that you're going to answer every single day, the end of the day. And that each week you're going to rotate those questions. So you're not always asking the same question, so that you're really being conscious and thoughtful about the types of questions that you ask yourself. If you're not sure what kinds of questions, by the way, you know yourself better than any therapist or coach or anything out there. And ultimately, you're the one who's going to decide what these questions are. But if you're not sure where to start, I have some recommendations. And if you're just getting started and you've never journaled before and you want to do this the easy way, the iterative way, you're going to start with just 1 question and build up to 3. So the first question you might ask yourself is, what happened today? Focusing on the emotions that you experienced in the day. The second week, you might add a second question. A good second question that I have my clients ask is, how do I want to feel tomorrow? And we're not looking for one-word answers here. We're looking for full, complete sentences. I want to feel. And looking for complex emotions may be also very beneficial here. I want to feel enthusiastic tomorrow. I want to feel calm tomorrow. And the third week, you pick a question, or you can also work with a coach like me who can help you come up with good questions to ask in your journal. And I'll have some example questions here, but after you've answered those questions every day on that third week, if you're just starting and you're adding 1 question on each week, or every week thereafter, you're going to switch those questions around and change some of them. So here are some example questions that I've used with my clients before. What did I do today that I was proud of? What did I learn today? What are 3 things that I'm grateful for today? And by the way, that one is scientifically proven to help with positivity and resilience and the prefrontal cortex. Another one is, what are 3 kind things that I can do to other people, for other people tomorrow? Not to other people, but for. And the final one is, if I had one wish today, what would it be? When you're journaling, when you're answering these questions, again, I want to caution you from worrying about the answer. Pick answers that are good enough or that just bubble up. Practice some free writing here where the emotions dictate what you're going to feel. Don't judge the words that you put out on the page. Own them. And don't let this become a breeding ground for more perfectionism. Focus on finding words, just finding the words to put down rather than finding the perfect words to put down. Just let the words kind of bubble up naturally. That's how you know that you're talking with your subconscious mind. Starting a journaling habit, in my opinion, is the best way to overcome just about anything. It's chicken soup for the soul, if you will. If you want help starting your journaling habit, I'm here for you. Journaling is not going to make you rich, but it might help you identify the ways in which you're preventing yourself from being wealthy or feeling wealthy. Journaling improves your mental health, your physical health, and your well-being, and it is so easy to do. But starting something new might feel hard. Maybe there's a little part of you somewhere deep inside that doesn't want to feel better. And that's okay. But if you do want to feel better, if you do want to try a new journaling habit, journal every day for a year. Don't let anything prevent you from that. And again, if you need help starting that journaling habit, or if you are like my clients and you're stuck with perfectionism and you want help overcoming it, book a free 30-minute consultation with me on my website. I'll post a link in the comments to this video after it's gone live. And during that 30-minute consult, we're going to determine whether or not coaching is right for you and whether or not I'm the right coach for you, because fit is super important. And any services that you choose to hire me for will come with a free 100% money back guarantee to ensure that you get the results that you're expecting. I want to thank you so much for being here with me and for watching this video. And I would really greatly appreciate just having you here and watching this video is a huge thank you to me that I just really appreciate. I have a lot of gratitude for. But if you could just like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment on this video, that would really help extend our reach out into the world. And you could also share this video with a loved one. I'll be back here next week. I'm working with a guest who is a coach who focuses on helping introverts feel successful in their lives. So I'll see you next week. I'm really excited about that episode. And until then, bye.